let the world see my shine? Why don't I start to walk in that? And listen, people going to laugh at you. People going to hate on you. Why? Because they haven't discovered something in themselves. Right? But that doesn't have to be your story. It doesn't have to be your life. And as we move forward in this, I don't know who this is really for, but you don't have to go through what you're going through right now. You can say, hey, I need help in this area. But you gotta be willing to accept and receive that help in that area, right? Mm-hmm. Somebody out there right now, maybe you're not a teen, maybe you're an adult and you needed to hear that message, right? I need you to remind yourself of who you are and take a look into that mirror, because it's that important. And I was mentioning my son Caleb earlier, and he was saying, like, you know, I asked Caleb, I said, Caleb, why are you being so negative right now? And he says, well, because it's the reality. And I get to thinking, how many other teenagers feel like that? How many other teenagers feel that why be positive if there's always evil in the world? Why be positive if there's always something going on in the world? What is there to really be positive about? And they got legitimate reasons why to be negative. Because they don't want to feel let down.
Right.
If I get my hopes up that something great is coming or something great is here, and then it doesn't happen in the time frame for them, and we do this as human beings, we get caught up and say, if it don't happen by this time, then it ain't happening.
I'm all about the good vibes, the good vibes. We bout to have a good time, a good time. Leave my problems all behind, all behind. We living out the good life, yeah. I ain't gotta worry about a thing. Oh no. Had some obstacles I overcame. Oh yeah. You don't have to ever be the same. Oh Lord. Cause when we change the mind, we change the game. Coming through clutch. Coming through clutch. Coming through clutch.
What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? We are back. We are back with another episode on the Kenneth Allen Thomas Show. Listen, y'all. My name is Kenneth Allen Thomas. My man God's still here. Nick Mingle is still at work. That boy flying everywhere, yo. Everywhere. That boy is out there getting it. You know what I'm saying? That's what we talking about. Going out there, making it happen, and everything for his family. So hopefully we will have Nick back on soon. But with that being said, listen, we still got a packed show for you guys. We got some solid information that we want to share with you. We want to edify you guys. We want to, bless you guys with as much knowledge and wisdom and love as possible so that you guys can get to the next level. But before we do that, we want to make sure that you guys understand that this show is brought to you by my new book, Nobody is Coming to Save You, How to Lead Through a Storm. Did you get your book yet?
I'm about to get it today.
About to get the book. About to get the book today. I'm gonna sign that joint for you.
Please.
Listen, if you have not gotten your book, either A, it's in the mail, or B, you haven't gone to the website to go ahead and order your book. So I'm going to leave a link in the description below, and make sure you guys go ahead and grab that. And listen, if you are someone who is going through it, if you are somebody that needs some form of inspiration in your life, and if you know somebody that needs some form of inspiration, you may want to go ahead and listen to everything that's going to be said into this video right here, into this podcast, into the information that we're going to be supplying and dropping for you guys. So listen, make sure you guys go ahead and share this with your mommy, your daddy, your uncle, your auntie, your grandma, your grandpa, abuela, abuelo. Listen, share it with everybody that needs this message right here, because guess what? You're either in a storm, you're going through a storm, or you're coming out of a storm. One of the three is happening, and today we are talking about how to lead through a storm. We're going to start off with this topic really quick. Shout out to my man Matt that is on the cameras and everything as well too. Shout out to my man Matt Cooley that's on the camera. So if you need a videographer, go ahead and check him out.
Let's
go. Listen, bro, check this out, man. We talk about leading through storms, and one of the storms that I think that people need to really, really recognize is the storm that's in their own room. Mm-hmm. Right?
Amen.
Listen, I'm going to step on toes today. I'm going to step on somebody's toes today. And a lot of times we need to self-reflect. We was talking about that earlier, right?
Yes, sir.
Self-reflect and figure out where we need to clean in our room. And I know for me, one of the biggest things in my life was cleaning my room inside the relationships that I have, right? Inside my finances, right? Inside my business, inside of, even within myself, my setting and moving a lot of my limiting beliefs out of the picture. And oftentimes we allow these limiting beliefs to go into something that we'll talk about too later, where we start negotiating with ourselves and stuff like that, right? So remember, we did sessions, on cleaning your room, a while ago. And for those that don't know what I mean by cleaning your room, I want you guys to really, really take this under consideration. When we talk about cleaning your room, I want you to imagine that, you're going to a room and it's a full mess. And for the youngins out there, maybe it's something that you're looking for, right? And older people too, maybe it's something that you're looking for. I want you to imagine there's something that you're looking for in your life and you can't find it. And that thing that you've been looking for is probably your true purpose, right? It's probably something that like a dream or a vision that you had and you just can't find it. Some of you guys out there right now are saying to yourself, why am I here? Why am I here? What is the point of being here? And I would encourage you to clean your room. And what do I mean by that, right? What I mean is, I want you to go into your room and your mom ever sit and tell you, Mom, I can't find my favorite toy. And your mom say, well, clean your room and you'll find it. And this is what I'm saying. This is going to hit home for a lot of people. Clean your room and you'll find it, right? I want you to imagine going into your room and everything is cluttered. Everything is all over the place, right? And those things that are a mess in your room, okay, those are the negative things that are impacting your life, to why you can't necessarily see what your purpose is, what your dream is, what your calling is, because it's messy up here. Right? It's messy up here. So I want you to start picking up the things. Maybe it's a toxic relationship. Maybe it's bad business that you've been doing. Maybe it's organizing your finances correctly. Maybe it's getting your house in order like Hezekiah. Right. Maybe it's something like that. And then as you put these things in place, as you get rid of the negativity, as you get rid of all these things, I want you to start putting them on the shelves and putting things in their rightful place in your life. That's people, that's things, that's whatever it is that is impacting your life on that level, right? And then when everything is set in motion, when everything is set in place, I guarantee, I'm almost sure that you will start to find the vision, you start to find the purpose, you'll start to find the meaning because you put certain things in order inside your room and you started decluttering and moving things out of your life.
I think that word decluttering is so important because what happens in my life and the issues I have, I get so busy that I lose sight of my purpose.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm doing all these things and not following what God has me to follow as my purpose. You know what I mean? And so feeling like there's a need or I have to put things not in just an order, but just using, I want to say, putting all these things in in groups, right?
Okay.
Groups of importance,
right?
Groups of importance. Priority was the word I was looking for.
Right.
Put not only doing things, but putting them in priority order, right? And so what fills my purpose, what feeds my family, what, and so forth and so on. I think that's the thing I get into of trying to declutter and clean my room is finding out what's most important and putting that first.
Right. You know what's crazy? I want to toss this question to the audience here, right? I want you guys to kind of like look at it like from this standpoint. And I want you guys to put this in the comments as well too, wherever you're watching this. I want you to look at your life and ask yourself the question, how long has my room been a mess? Matter of fact, here's a better question. How long are you willing for your room to stay a mess? Mentally, right? Spiritually, emotionally, financially, socially. How long are you willing for your room to stay a mess? Because the reality is that is a long-term recipe for disaster. Right? If your room is not in order, if things are not clean, if things are not in the way prioritized, right, then it's a long-term recipe for disaster. And what do we end up having, bro? We end up going into this cycle of, the same pattern over and over and over again.
Yep. And I think that when we don't put them in priority order and we sit back, and you talked about time, how long, right? So what first thing that came to my mind was comfort and complacency. We get comfortable and complacent in the out of order that we're in, right? So that's...
And you know what's crazy is that people are so comfortable in their life that they stay stuck in the storm. And because you're so comfortable in this storm, you don't mind getting wet.
Right.
You don't mind getting rained on. You don't mind getting snowed on, because you make it a part of your everyday life.
Right.
That you don't understand how to take cover.
Right.
Because taking cover to some people is uncomfortable. Right. And it's like, yo, that should be more natural than anything.
Right. To
take cover for yourself and put yourself in a much better position. And I was having a conversation, a while ago with a client, and this person is very, very like in their mind, like everything is always happening to me.
Right.
Everything I just can't get through it. I just can't get past it. Right. The question is, do you want to get past it?
It's true.
Do you want to clean your room? Because that's the thing. Some people don't even want to clean their room. Some of y'all are just hoarders and you don't want to clean your room.
Right. Not only that, you get comfortable. When you get comfortable in a storm, then you start feeling like these cycles are regular. Like they are what's supposed to happen.
What's supposed to happen.
No.
That's not supposed to happen.
No, absolutely
not. So here's the thing, right? Let's take it a step further. When we talk about the people that you surround yourself with.
Go ahead.
We talk about the people that you surround yourself with. We talk about the relationships that you have.
Right.
If you look at your life and you are seeing a pattern in your life, I want you to take the look at the people in your life.
It's true.
Let me say it again. Facts. If you are looking at your life and you see a pattern, a bad pattern at that, and it is the same thing that's happening over and over and over again, and you're expecting to stay stuck in a storm, I want you to take a look at the people that are surrounded by you in your life.
Yeah.
Because the thing is that I want to be around people that's going to help me and elevate me. I don't want to be around people that's going to keep me stuck. I don't want to be around people that's going to keep me stagnant. I don't want to be around people that's going to be talking about the same thing over and over and over again. There has to be some form of movement.
Yes.
So that we can get to the next level.
Right.
We only stay an embryo for so long. We only stay an infant for so long. We only stay a toddler for so long. We only stay a teenager for so long. We only stay, a young adult for so long. And we continue to evolve. So if your span of life is to evolve, why can't you evolve, mentally? Why can't you evolve spiritually? Why can't you remove yourself from certain situations? You want to know why, bro? Because some people are just uncomfortable saying no to people that are, toxic for them.
Right.
They don't want to move.
Right.
They don't want to, because they feel they're more loyal to the person than the person is to them. Right.
Go ahead.
And then what happens with that is that they, in their mind, they end up complaining about it to everybody else, and instead of doing something about it. Right. Hence, nobody is coming to save you. Right. You're going to have to do this work. You're going to have to get it in. You're going to have to go to a level that is beyond what you can actually see right now.
Go ahead.
In order to actually clean your room, I'm feeling this thing right now. In order to actually clean your room, right, you got to come to grips with who you are and say, self, no more. No more are we going to allow people to sit here and take our character away or devalue our character and who we are. Right? Because too many times, somebody out there right now is probably in a relationship and it's toxic, right? It's an abusive one, right? Or it's issues financially, right? Or is issues from a communication standpoint, or is issues from a trustworthy standpoint. It's all this is happening, and you're staying stuck, and you keep saying to yourself, "Why can't I get to the next level?" Because you're settling for good instead of going for great.
Man, say that again.
I said you're settling for good instead of going for great.
When we talk about relationships, right, the first thing that comes to my head is accountability, right? Somebody that I can hold accountable and they not take offense to it, and somebody that can hold me accountable. That's where that push comes from. right? To be able to be held accountable, to be able to be challenged, right? Challenged. That's what makes and breaks relationships, being able to be challenged without without feeling any type of way. You know what I mean? And I think that when we surround ourselves with people, like I surround myself with you, and I surround myself with Nick, and I surround myself with people who are more like family, right? That I can accept those ways and accept those things that they're saying. And I can, we have our own way of doing things, but you consider those other opinions and value them.
That's right.
Right? Value. In relationship, you have to value the people that are around you. And they have to value you.
They have to value you. Yeah, man. Like, that's the thing. Some of y'all don't feel valued.
Yeah, right. There it is.
Some of y'all don't feel valued. And even though you know that you deserve better, right, you don't go out to get better.
Go ahead.
Right? And because you don't go out, because you've developed this stigma around yourself that is holding you back from real success. And I'm not talking about financial success. I'm talking about success in life. See, that's a difference. I think there's a stigma that we put financial success as true success, right? And I think that's a big issue in the world. However, money is important, but money, like, Pastor always says, listen, money is only transportation to your destination.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You need it, obviously, or whatever, to do the will of God, to do what it is that you are called to do, right? But the fact is that money is not the end all be all, right? It is a tool. God doesn't mind you having money. He minds money having you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So we think success as in like of how much I make on what my bank account looks like. But really, success is up to the person. What do you feel is successful, right? What do you guys that are out there listening, what do you feel? Let me know in the comments. What is success to you? How do you measure success? What is that to you, right? And this all comes in the form of learning how to clean that room. My mom used to always say, like, Mom, I can't find my favorite toy. Yo, Kenny, clean your room and you'll find it. If anybody out there is looking for their purpose, I'm telling you right now, clean your room and you will find it. Awesome. So listen, if that was good for y'all, you know what I'm saying, go ahead and drop a comment and everything below. We're going to move on to the next topic and everything. It's actually going to be coming from, the new book, Nobody is Coming to Save You. And our next topic is we're going to be talking about, stop negotiating with yourself.
Right.
Stop negotiating with yourself. Right. Like, oftentimes, people, they negotiate too much with yourself, with themselves. And the issue comes in where you set out to do a goal, and that goal looks so far off that you say, you know what, I'm going to change my mind. Let me not do that. You know what I'm saying? Have you ever been in a position, where you've negotiated with yourself? And if so, how did you overcome it? Did you go after that thing, or did you not pursue it at all?
I think negotiating with things for me comes because there's seasons in my life, right? Okay. And so I was told many times that I needed to write a book. Like, I've been through a lot, I've seen a lot, and
let me stop you really quick.
Go ahead.
Let me stop you real quick.
Go ahead.
We got a guest coming on soon. Okay. Pastor Jamie Morgan should be coming on. She said something to me the other day that 99% of people won't write a book.
Right.
But everybody has a book in them, at least one.
Yes.
Go ahead. I just want to say, you got one book in you.
I got one book. I'm listening. I'm looking for it because this is that season.
Right.
I had in the past, I would say maybe I was even in college at the time, and I kind of put it off because I had a lot of other things to do. Like you said, putting things off, and the goal was so far off that I waited, right? And then when you wait, and in the meantime, you kind of get lost in everything else that life has to offer.
Come on.
And so now is the season, right? I never put anything down on paper. And Habakkuk 2:2 says, write a plan and make it plain, right? And so as I talk to you and you give me your blueprint of scheduling out, dates, creating goals for yourself and actually writing them down.
My Google Calendar is crazy, bro.
I understand that. Yeah, we went through that earlier where somebody was identifying like, you have a lot going on. Now me, you know, I just want to find that space now in this season, right, to sit down and concentrate on goal setting. And accomplishing them by a certain time, right?
Okay.
So that time that you're talking about, those dates that you're talking about setting, and not getting comfortable and complacent in the space that I'm in, right? Oh, well, I have to have this done by this date. I have to have this done by this date, and I'm kind of working hard to pursue that at this time, not allowing life and the other things that are going on to derail me or distract me from those goals.
Absolutely. I think that people that negotiate with themselves, they set up these limiting beliefs.
Right.
Right. But what if?
Yeah.
What if it doesn't happen? What if I'm disappointed? What if there is grief to my life because of it? What if I do this and I look foolish? What if I do this and everybody laughs at me? What if I do this and it's not what I thought it would be? It's a lot of what ifs, right? But then on the opposite side, what if your dreams come true? What if you change someone's life? What if God is using you to help somebody get to that next level? What if, you know, that is the change for your life to elevate you, right? To walk out into your true purpose. What if it does? Right? What happens? Like, let's say someone's dream is to travel the world and they hit all 50 states. And, you know, what if you do? But bigger question is, what if you don't? What would happen if you don't pursue it? What would happen if you did negotiate? What would happen? Like, who wouldn't benefit from your success? You got kids, I got kids. You know what I'm saying? When I'm done here, I want to be able to make sure that I die empty instead of full. I don't want to take anything with me, because everything that, you know, I need will already be stored up. I won't need anything from here. So my whole thing is, why not do it? We have to get into a habit of thinking, what's the worst that can happen? What is the worst that can happen, right? The worst thing that could possibly happen is, okay, maybe you look foolish. Been there. Maybe people will laugh at you. Been there. You know what I'm saying? But you'll only look foolish for a moment. You'll only look foolish, and people will only laugh at you for a moment. Because those people that think that you're foolish, or those people that will talk about you, those people that will laugh at you, will eventually find something else to laugh at. The question is, when they're done laughing, when they're done saying you look foolish, they stop here, will you continue to keep going past the foolishness, past the laughter,
right,
past all those things, because you remain optimistic about, you know, your journey. And I'll toss it back to you in a second, but I want people to grab this. This is really, really important. You're on a journey of life. And I don't know how many times you have driven cross country or down south or wherever, but you always go past somewhere you don't want to be. You're always traveling somewhere where you don't want to be. You're always traveling somewhere where you know you're not going to be comfortable, but you have to go through it to get to where you got to go. Right? And I know for me, driving from Las Vegas to LA, I'm not trying to stay stuck in the desert. I'm trying to get to the city where I know everything else is, where I see civilization. The last thing I want to do is stay stuck in the desert, but I had to get uncomfortable. I had to get comfortable being uncomfortable, going through that desert, going through that particular storm. Right? And I remember I was at my friend's wedding in Iowa. Shout out to my man Jim, right? I remember driving home, And when we drove home, there was this crazy tornado. I'd never been in a tornado. Mind you, we drove from Jersey all the way to Iowa. I'd never been in a tornado storm before. But it was crazy. Like, it was like a lot of rain, like super heavy. Never been in that before. Very, very uncomfortable position. And I ended up having to drive back through it. I was like, you know what? We're going to push through. Here's the thing about storms is that most of them stay in one area. Because on the outside of it, you know what I'm saying, it's clear skies. You know what I'm saying? So if I negotiated with myself and said I wasn't going to go through it, I may not have made it home. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Your take, bro.
No, I think that's powerful because I think success or, our goals are in the uncomfortable, right? Mm-hmm. I feel like not just having to go through the uncomfortable, but sometimes we feel stuck in the uncomfortable. That's like a natural feeling. We feel stuck at times. But what are you going to do when you get stuck? What are you going to do while you wait? I talked about waiting earlier, waiting, and having to wait, right? Mm-hmm. So are you just going to sit there?
Right.
Are you going to, you have to feed that purpose. You have to feed that goal. So while you wait, you have to continue to do things that help, either get out of that storm or help to get comfortable in it.
Amen. I want to read you this, yo. I want to read you this. This is from the book, right? We have to adopt the what's next mentality.
Go ahead.
Right? Because the reality is, once you have completed a goal and you are still alive, then that means there's still more to do. Right? How can you expand? Right? How can you take things to the next level and beyond? We get thousands of thoughts every day. Fresh ideas are pouring into our minds. We allow the few negative ones to overshadow all the positive ones.
Yep.
We become fearful of that great idea. We become fearful of that great idea, and our flesh starts to deny it. But in all reality, our spirit wants to accomplish it. We look at how long the road is to reach that goal instead of conquering the position we are currently at. And sometimes what's in the distance seems more fearful than achievable to the naked eye. But whenever those thoughts come into play, think about the process it took for you to even be born. Right? How scary it must have been for the woman that was carrying you for months. Right? So, let me just finish this part right here. But when you got here, the pain was over and the joy was brought into the world. That's your dreams, your goals, your calling. Stop denying the world your greatness. Remember, there is only one of you. And I realized I had to stop worrying about what others on the other side would say. And more importantly, stop doubting myself. Because self-doubt will always lead to self-destruction.
Ooh-wee. You better go get that book. You better go get that book. You better go get that book. Let me tell you, it's funny to me that you said you started off what's next, right?
Yeah.
Because, I want to start talking about this book that'll be coming from me, right? And it's called It's coming. It's called What's Next. It's called What's Next? Living in Victory After Defeat. Right? We get so used to feeling defeated.
That's right.
Right? That we don't know how to live in victory or live in that once we don't know how to see it when we win. Right? When the win comes. We're so used to feeling defeated that we miss it.
You miss it. Wow.
Don't miss it.
Wow.
I'm gonna say that again. Don't miss it. Put that in the chat.
Put it in the chat.
Don't miss it. Right?
Don't miss it
in
the chat.
Don't get so used to living in defeat.
Right.
that you miss it when victory comes.
That's
right?
deep, bro.
And so I appreciate all that you said, because I think getting through those challenges, those trials, and those tribulations, it is necessary to be optimistic.
That's right.
And think of what is to come, and
exactly.
not where I'm at.
You know what's crazy? My son Caleb, 13-year-old.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Teenagers. Yes. Shout out to all the parents that got teenagers out there.
That's me.
You know what I'm saying? Shout out to all the parents that got teenagers. Because listen, it is not easy.
Not easy.
You know what I'm saying? I got an 18-year-old, 13-year-old, 8-year-old, 5-year-old, and a newborn coming on the way, right? And this is the age where a lot of teens start to get involved with a lot of self-doubt.
Okay, yes.
Because they are trying to figure out who they are.
Yes.
There's a lot of exposure to things that are a little bit over their head, and then they doubt themselves because they're not there yet. Right. And many teens, and what's crazy because, I bring this up because, I believe it's Suicide Prevention Week is coming up, top of October. And there are so many teens that need guidance right now. And let me just look into the camera and say this. Like, if you are a teenager, if you are a young person, you got time. You don't have to accomplish everything right now. You have to learn how to live in the present moment, because there's so much more for you.
Go ahead.
Right? There's so much more for you in your future. Don't be blinded by the evil things that you may see. Don't be blinded by the people. Don't be blinded by the hate that may come against you. This is what the world is like. But it doesn't have to be your world. Right? You don't have to embrace that. You can just experience it and see that there are people out there that are like that, but you don't have to take that in, because that's not you. The reality is that the person that you see in the mirror is the one who God created in our image and our likeness, meaning Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. The problem becomes that when you leave that mirror, you forget what you saw. You forget who you are. But I need you to look in the mirror, and I need you to say to self, like, listen, hey, this is who God created. And if God created me, who am I to take it away? Why don't I let the world see my greatness? Why don't I let the world see my shine? Why don't I start to walk in that? And listen, people going to laugh at you. People going to hate on you. Why? Because they haven't discovered something in themselves. Right? But that doesn't have to be your story. It doesn't have to be your life. And as we move forward in this, I don't know who this is really for, but you don't have to go through what you're going through right now. You can say, hey, I need help in this area. But you gotta be willing to accept and receive that help in that area. Right? Somebody out there right now, maybe you're not a teen, maybe you're an adult and you needed to hear that message. Right? I need you to remind yourself of who you are and take a look into that mirror, because it's that important. And I was mentioning my son Caleb earlier, and he was saying, like, I asked Caleb, I said, Caleb, why are you being so negative right now? And he says, well, because it's the reality. And I get to thinking, how many other teenagers feel like that? How many other teenagers feel that why be positive if there's always evil in the world? Why be positive if there's always something going on in the world? What is there to really be positive about? Legitimate reasons why to be negative, because they don't want to feel let down.
Right.
If I get my hopes up that something great is coming or something great is here, and then it doesn't happen in the time frame for them, and we do this as human beings, we get caught up and say, if it don't happen by this time, then it ain't happening. But what we have to understand is, bro, and you know this as well as much as I do, because you got a teenage daughter, God's time is not our time.
It's true.
Our time is different from his time. We can't compete with the one who created time, who lives on the outside of time. And the fact is we have an impatient spirit that's running rampant, that tries to take over our mindset to then, okay, it's not happening, it's done, it's over, finished, whatever. Because if it was going to happen, then it would happen by now. Really? Then if that was the case, then why are you here, right, in the first place? Because you wasn't born in 1700. You wasn't born in 1600. You was born now. Why? Because it was the appointed time for you to be here. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't saying that you wasn't ever going to come. It's just that now it's the appointed time. And I'll pass it back to you on this. When you use Habakkuk 2:2, write it down to make it plain. That next verse says what? Although it may linger.
Go ahead.
Although it may linger, God's promise will come to pass.
Yes.
Right? It will come to pass. If you write down that vision, you make it plain, and according to his will, it will come to pass. So I want to encourage everyone that you don't have to sit there and do things on your own. You got to be patient enough to do them with God. And patient doesn't mean waiting. Patient means, waiting on him as in serving.
There it is. That's actually one of my chapters.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
That's actually one of my chapters. But waiting, I think that patience. Patience is one of those things that brings about success in relationships, in business, in life, right? But again, like you said, patience is not just what you do. Patience is not just sitting there. Patience is what you do while you're waiting, right? Serve him, serve that purpose, serve those things that bring that optimism to your life. You talk about teens. I mean, shoot, adults live in that same space of time, pessimism because of what we see going on around us.
What we see. It's what they're exposed to.
Right. And lacking faith because of
Lacking faith because of what they see.
Yeah.
Right? But what does that say? So what does that say to me as a father, right?
Right.
Okay. I need to exemplify what I know to be true.
Go ahead.
The more I exemplify of what I know to be true, I need to maximize that 100 times more than what they actually see.
Right. And we say be the change you want to see. Be the change you want them to see.
Right, exactly. Because the reality is that people rely on other things to raise their children.
Right.
You can't rely on TikTok. You can't rely on Instagram. You can't rely on social media and stuff like that. As a parent, you have to monitor. And I'm not saying that those things are necessarily bad or whatever for them, but you've got to monitor what it is that they're looking at. And you've got to be strong enough and bold enough to be like, hey, listen, I don't think you're mature enough and everything for this iPad.
Right.
I don't think that you're mature enough for this phone right now. I remember growing up and everything, you know what I'm saying? I didn't get a phone until I was 17 years old, 17, and it's like now we are giving it to them in a sense to it could be a babysitter for some people. You get on my nerves or whatever, blah, 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 and you want to give it to them. I'm just keeping it real.
Yeah.
But we got to be careful with that because they need love and attention.
Yeah.
Right? They need that love and attention. And if so, then yes, these limiting beliefs are going to come into play.
Right.
These self-doubts are going to come into play. I was just telling this is how let me wrap it up or whatever for Caleb. This is what I said to him. I said, let me understand what you mean. Let me understand what you mean by, it's just the reality. What are you saying? He said, well, why get my hopes up for things or whatever that are not going to happen? I said, where do you get that from? Right? He couldn't really pinpoint, but he just kept saying, well, it's the truth.
Right.
Well, I said, is it because you're afraid of being let down? He said, yeah. He said, why get my hopes up for something if it's going to let me down anyway? And I said, wow. I said, Caleb, I appreciate you explaining that to me. Because the one thing as parents that we need to do is not necessarily say, hey, I'm the king, I'm the queen, or whatever of this house, or whatever, do what I say. But also seek to understand before seeking to be understood.
Yep.
Because we live in a different era, we live in a different generation.
Yep.
Yes, you take your platform as the head of the house, but also understand where they're coming from so that you can get inside their mind to understand, so that you can then fix, mold, and guide them to the next level, which is what God does to us all the time. He understands our feelings. He understands why we feel the way that we feel. And then he sends other people in our life to help fix, mold, and guide and push us to the next level so that we don't think the same way that we once thought. Right. I say to Caleb, I said, so you don't think that it's good to be optimistic? He said, yeah, like, why not? I said, well, you want to go to the Air Force. That's about 5 years from now. You're being optimistic that that's going to happen because that's something that you've wanted to do for a long time now.
Yeah.
You want to be a pilot in the Air Force. That's something that you wanted to do for a long time now. You take classes and everything on airplanes and stuff like that. Something that you want to do.
Right.
You're optimistic about that because you know in your mind that's what you want to happen.
Yeah.
But what if it doesn't?
Right.
He said, I get it. I get it.
Right. And you know what? Let me tell you something about what's important about what you did, right?
Okay.
As a parent, I find it important to challenge and push back on these ideals that the young children, our young kids have,
That's
right? So what happens when we push back and we challenge their ideals,
Okay.
we then gain wisdom and knowledge from them,
Amen.
right? And how they think, and we learn how to treat them, how to treat their situation, how to be delicate, how to be empathetic, how to feel, right? Because at times we get lost in I'm the parent.
That's right.
Right? But I can learn so much from my children.
That's right.
Right? Their emotions, their feelings, their thoughts, their goals, right?
Yeah.
We were once them. And so our job is to not have them face the same roadblocks that we had to face.
Amen. I love it. We're gonna leave it there on that topic. Moving on to our last topic of the night, right? Is guys, I'm gonna spin it to you like this. I'm gonna ask you the question first and toss it up. Do you think that you can find success in the eye of the storm?
I said it earlier, right? In the storm, in the trial, is the uncomfort, right? And as we get comfortable being uncomfortable, there lies success.
Okay. I love it.
So I do feel like we can be successful in the eye of the storm. Not just in the storm, but in the eye of it, where the most pain and the most trial and the most suffering is. I feel like success comes from that feeling that I don't never want to have again.
Do you know what is the calmest part of the storm?
The eye.
It's the eye. The eye is the calmest part of the storm. Most people would think that the eye of the storm is the most chaotic part of the storm. But the reality is it's what's outside of the eye of the storm that is most chaotic. And that's the crazy thing, right? I challenge people to sit in the eye of the storm versus being on the outside, inside the winds, inside the rains, inside of all of that that's swirling around. Being the calmest part, right? I want to read this part right here, right? When things happen, right? Oftentimes, we as humans look at storms as chaos. So we naturally panic and we get desperate. I was panicking in every aspect of my life. As I mentioned earlier, I can remember screaming at God, shouting to the top of my lungs, "Don't you even care?" The moment I found out God had saved me from my destruction, I found myself doing something that I haven't done in a long time. looked God straight in the eye and started taking accountability for my actions. At that point, there was nothing to be afraid of. A good example of this would be the story when Jesus and his disciples were in a horrible storm. Mark chapter 4, verse 35 and 41. While Jesus was asleep, the disciples panicked. Asking Jesus, don't you care if we drown? Jesus then got up and calmed the storm. I've gone back and forth about this, but what if Jesus wanted us to see that? What if he wanted us to see the storm? Right? Number one, we have the power to calm the storms in our life through action and faith. Number two, although there may be chaos around us, if we keep our eyes locked on him, there will be no chaos in us. In other words, you may be in the storm, but you are not of the storm. Right? And number three, sometimes God will allow us to mess up our situation so that we can have a clear view of the calmest part of the storm that rests within him. And number four, when we let go of control, only then we can find real peace. And I was referring to a time where my house got caught on fire. And I was out and I was debating whether I should move back home or not to my mom's house at 30 years old. And me debating that and going back and forth, my pride and my ego was in the way of me saying, you know what, Mom, I'm gonna just go home right away. I contemplated for 2 weeks. Had I contemplated for another 2 weeks, then I would be in that fire. I may not be here. Right. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, your take on that, you know what I mean? Like those 4 points, like being in the eye of the storm and not being in the storm, but being not being of the storm, but in the storm. You know what I'm saying?
You know what, that right there, which is number 2, right? It brings about a thought of from where I come from to where I'm at, right? From the city of Camden.
Camden streets.
and
them Camden streets.
And it's rough. It's a rough place, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like even though I lived there and I was in it, I can say I've even felt I was of it. But I think that with the time that I have spent on developing myself, right? Developing from inside out, you start to see things for what they are. And, you know, the city is the city. Yeah. But not being of the city, I can come back and I can give back and I can change everything that I saw when I was a kid, right? And so that's what I spend a lot of my time on is being that change, right? Being that male role model, obviously. You know, being a lot of kids don't really have dads in their life these days, right? Being that positive impact. Yeah. You know, not just sitting, not just waiting, but serving, right? That's really important to me in a city that, you know, I didn't see a lot of that when I was a kid, right? And I'm not saying it's not there because it's there for sure. People are trying their hardest to give and serve, but it was just a matter of me coming back to be more visible.
That's right. Wow.
To be more visible.
Let me say this to the people. Let me encourage you guys as we take this down. You're walking into a storm every single day.
Go ahead.
Period. You're walking into a storm every single day of your life. The second that you pick up this cell phone, the second that you pick it up, you're walking into a storm. You're walking into chaos. You're walking into Instagram and everything that's happening with it. You're walking into Facebook and everything that's happening with it. You're walking into the news and everything that's happening with it. You're walking into a bunch of chaos. And it can cause a lot of panic and depression and anxiety over your life. Instead of looking at the problem, right? Start looking at the solutions. Start being the solution. And that starts with you. At the end of the day, that starts with you. That starts with you know, your mindset, your well-being, your attitude.
Yeah.
You could be walking into a storm, but you don't have to be of the storm, right? You could be walking into the storm and say, hey, listen, I got umbrellas.
Yeah.
You could be walking into the storm and say, hey, listen, I got raincoats.
Yep.
You could be walking into the storm, I got rain boots, I got this, I got that. You know you're going to walk into a storm, but don't be part of the problem, be a part of the solution.
Yeah.
Right? You walk into the storm saying like, listen, I'm not about that chaotic life.
Right.
But what I do have, right? I got some raincoats over here.
Mm-hmm.
I got some umbrellas. I got some hats. I got some coats. You know what I'm saying? Hey, listen, I got some life rafts. I got it over here. Hey, listen, everybody that right now, if you're in the storm and you're going chaotic right now, hey, listen, if you're trying to get out of the chaos, holla at me. Mm-hmm. Right? Because how much longer are we going to continue to stay stuck in the storm? Because we keep talking about the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. We get on the news. We get on a podcast. You get on YouTube. You see it happening everywhere, right? But when is somebody going to sit there and say enough is enough? Hey, yo, I got what you need. Yeah. It's not much, but I got what you need, right? For whoever need it, yo, come get it right now. And listen, if it's not enough for everybody, I know where to go get more. Yep. You know what I'm saying? I know where to go get more. Stay right there because I'm coming to get you. When are we going to start living a life of service instead of receiving everything all the time? Right. Instead of wanting everything all the time. It's not about just receiving. It's about how can you serve the next person, right? How can you serve your neighbor? How can you serve your sister, right? And this is one of the things that disturbed me, right? And I may be getting a little emotional on this or whatever, but what disturbs me the most is when we see things on television, right, that, you know, draw the wrong type of attention, right? When you see, you know, women going back and forth, arguing tooth and nail or whatever over something that's completely pointless. Right. Like, this means nothing. This doesn't edify anybody's life at all. But you're creating more storms, if anything, right, for the almighty dollar at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. And it's like, dang, yo, like, what are we really doing? Mm-hmm. Are we going to continue to sit here and allow these things to continue? Mm-hmm. Or are we going to create shows that help people because they're going through real life problems? Mm-hmm. When we talk about like reality TV, that's not really reality. That's something made up. Why don't we really go through reality TV? Right. Why don't we really talk about the people that's really going through it in their life? Why don't we talk about the person that's having mental health issues? Why don't we talk about the man that doesn't want to sit there and express his feelings about what he's going through in life because he feels that if he does say something, mm-hmm. that people going to think, oh, you too vulnerable. You acting like a punk. You what you crying for? Man up, this, that, and the third. Right. Or the woman that's afraid to sit there and say, like, yo, this man keeps beating me half to death or whatever, but if I say something, I'm going to look crazy. You know what I mean? Like, or the kid that's afraid to sit there and speak up and say something or whatever about the kids that's bullying him. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, we're living in fear, mm-hmm. right? And that's killing us. Mm-hmm. And it's because of that, it's because these storms that are created, mm-hmm. you know, it's causing so much chaos in someone's mind that they're afraid to open their mouth, that they have power, when they have to understand that the power of the tongue, they have more power than they actually think, right? And the question is when do we stop it, right? And it starts with us. It starts with me. It starts with you. Mm-hmm. Change don't start in the White House. Change start in your house. Mm-hmm.
Say it again, please. I
said change don't start in the White House. Change starts in your house.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I believe it. I think that change is so important, and I think that we need to shift our minds to not just the change that is going on in our house, but how the change in our house can affect someone else's house.
Right, bro. Right. I'm just so sick and tired of seeing people sick and tired. Mm-hmm. I really am. Mm-hmm. It really affects me because I want people to be better. I want people to live better. And listen, don't get me wrong. I know that challenges are going to come.
Right.
But there's help for those challenges.
Right. What do
you do? When people see challenges that are coming, but they don't know where to get the help, that's a problem. Mm-hmm. You're always going to face a storm. But how do you go up against the storm? People have to learn. We don't learn this in school. We don't learn like, okay, like I know how to face, certain challenges. Like teens don't have personal development training. Why?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They don't have leadership training. Why?
It's true.
You know what I'm saying? You don't get leadership training or whatever until you become a leader. That makes absolutely no sense.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? Because, or like, and that's the thing, like, there's levels to this. Why can't kids get personal development training in middle school? When they actually start thinking more on their own and for themselves, when mommy and daddy are not like walking them into school. You know what I'm saying? Like, why not have those personal development programs? Why not have those leadership programs? And maybe they're out there, but I don't see them.
Mm-hmm. Being more visible, like I said.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And because I don't see them, I'm going to hold myself accountable and I'm going to start them. There we go.
There it is.
You know what I'm saying?
No, that's important.
So, listen, I'm passionate.
Yes.
Don't mistaken, me raising my voice as anger. Look at it as passion, because I'm very, very passionate about serving people. Anybody who knows me knows that, you know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to clarify that. I get overwhelmed sometimes because I just want to see people win.
Amen. We want to see you win.
I just want to see you win. And it doesn't matter to me. You winning doesn't matter to where, okay, you're winning because you got the house that you want, or that you got the car that you want to drive. Like, you winning to me is like, yo, is your well-being intact?
Yeah.
Is your mental intact? Are you good? Yeah. Right? Is your faith good? Yeah. Is your family good? Is your leadership good? Are those things, in place? That's what's really important to me. You know what I'm saying? And I praise God for allowing me to have the platform that I have to speak to the people, because like somebody gotta get y'all charged up and ready to go. Because at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? Listen, no person's gonna do it for us. Just like the book, nobody's coming to save you. Right. You know what I'm saying? And no person's gonna do it.
Right. And on the Kenneth Allen Thomas Show, we push you to be better. We push you to be the best you can be.
You gotta do it.
Push you to
That's
win.
Right. To win. So, final words for the night. You know what I mean? Any encouragement that you want to give to people?
Man, I just want to see a lot more love in the world. A lot more love in the world. A lot more optimism. Just with teens as well as with adults.
That's right.
Again, I'll reiterate, be the change you want to see.
Amen. Amen. Listen, here's my last take. Resources. Use them. Use the resources that you have. If you don't feel like you don't have no resources, go out and find some resources, right? Who are the people that you know that got what you want? Go talk to them. Ask them, how did you get that? Because I need this for my family. What skill set did you get, right? What book did you read? Because I need to go get that. Right. And a lot of times, I'm going to tell you, along my speaking journey, I just started developing and finding people that were in those spaces. Wherever it is that you want to be, whatever it is that you want to do. You want to make book bags? Well, guess what? Go find the person that made the best book bag in the world and figure out how they did it. Right? You want to write a book? Well, listen, go figure out who are the people or whatever in the world that wrote the best books. Yo, how did you do it? What was your process? Which way should you go? Should I go self-publish, or should I try and get, with a publishing agency? Like, what are the ways in order to go and to get that? Okay? But there's no excuse at the end of the day. If you were born, then you got a purpose. I don't care how old you are. I don't care how young you are. You could be 58 years old, 68 years old, 78 years old, and you may feel that you haven't done what it is that you were called to do. Well, let me tell you something, yo. Moses was 80 years old when he went back and got his people. So don't play games. It don't matter how old you are, right? He was 80-something years old when he went back, okay? So let's keep it real. Let's keep it funky, okay? So there's no excuse, but you got to want it. You got to do it. You got to want to get to the next level. Okay? Whatever that is, as long as you got breath in your lungs, there's a next level. There's something to do and there's work to be done. Because guess what? Ain't nobody going to be a millionaire for you. Ain't nobody going to buy this house for you. Ain't nobody going to sit there and train your kids for you. Listen, it takes a village to raise a child. But at the end of the day, that child is looking at you. Right? And at the end of the day, ain't nobody going to save you to do that. Right? And that's what this book is about. Okay, this book is here to charge you up, to let you know that what God put in you, okay, he put it in you and nobody else. He put it in you and nobody else. So ain't nobody else going to come and do this. I gave it to you, and I want you to do it. Don't be like the man in Matthew 25 that's burying your gift. Be like the other two that doubled it, right? Bang, here we go. So listen, if you have not been, if they ain't get y'all hype already, you know what I'm saying? Then listen, I don't know what else. I don't know what else is. Right?
I'm ready to go.
All right, let's go. Listen, go ahead. The link is in the description below. All right, make sure you guys share this with your mama, your daddy, your uncle, your auntie, your grandma, your grandpa, abuela, abuelo. Listen, share this with everybody, man. Nobody's coming to save you. Click the link below. All right, get this thing right now. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure that you subscribe for more positive content. We talk about faith, family, and leadership all over this channel, okay, every single day, giving you a daily dose of positivity, no matter what, daily dose of encouragement, showing you and letting you know that you can get to the next level. For every person that goes ahead and clicks on this particular link that's in this bio right here is going to get a signed copy personally from me. All right, you're going to get a signed copy below. And if you want the nobody to come, we got the merch. We also got the merch. Nobody's coming to save you. You know, sweatshirts. We got t-shirts that's also online as well, too. You got to go to KennethAllenThomas.com in order to get those, okay? You can also get the bundle as well, too. And the last thing, October 22nd, we are having another event, y'all. We have another event. Listen. We are going to be talking about the book, Nobody Is Coming to Save You, How to Lead Through a Storm, How to Lead Through a Storm Wellness Seminar. If you're somebody that is looking to elevate your wellness and get your well-being intact, October 22nd at Crave's Nature's Eatery, all the way in Lawrenceville, New Jersey. Listen, come to the event, all right? There's a small commitment fee, $10, small commitment fee, $10 to go ahead and get in, commit, and come on through so you can get this wisdom, get this knowledge. We're going to have some special guests and everything as well, too, for you guys to elevate your mind and get the knowledge and the wisdom that you need so you can get to that next level. All right?
Get it. Come get it. Let's
go. Let's eat. Who hungry?
Right.
Who hungry?
Let's go.
Who hungry? All right? Listen, like we always say, y'all, yesterday is gone, tomorrow worry about itself, and today is all we have. And if today is all you have, make sure you impact today the best way you know how. When we change the mind, we change the game. We see y'all later on the Kenneth Allen Thomas Show. I'm Kenny. That's Guy. That's Matt on the cameras. We out of here. Peace.